A cookie hits the kitchen floor. You freeze for a moment. 5 seconds. That's the window everyone learned, right? You scoop it up, you eat it, you feel completely fine. But are you actually fine, or just lucky? Scientists have spent 2 decades asking that exact question in real labs. And the answer is far stranger than the playground version suggests. The 5-second rule. Almost every culture, somewhere on Earth, has invented a version of it. In Japan, the polite move is to brush it off and bow apologetically. In parts of Russia, people joke that fast hands beat falling food. The American version came with a stopwatch. 5 seconds and you're safe. But where did that specific number actually come from? No one really knows. There's no patient zero for the 5-second number. Folklorists have searched old cookbooks, newspapers, and broadcasts for the origin. The earliest printed mentions only appear in the 1990s, surprisingly recent. Before that, it lived in kitchens, schoolyards, and grandmothers' voices. The rule became folk wisdom. Almost nobody questioned it. Until a high school intern decided to put the rule on trial. Jillian Clarke, summer intern, University of Illinois, 2003. She worked in a food science lab full of microbiologists and PhDs. Her supervisor handed her a question nobody had ever formally answered. Does the 5-second rule actually protect food from picking up bacteria? Clarke set up the first real experiment on dropped food. She coated smooth ceramic floor tiles with cultures of E. coli bacteria. Then she dropped gummy bears and cookies onto the contaminated surface. After 5 seconds, she swabbed each piece and counted bacterial colonies. Bacteria transferred to the food, every single trial, no exceptions. Her experiment won the 2004 Ig Nobel Prize in Public Health. The food science world finally had its first real data point. But the story was honestly just beginning to unfold. Paul Dawson, food science professor, Clemson University, 2007. Dawson and his graduate students published a far more rigorous follow-up study. They tested 3 surfaces, each in carefully controlled laboratory conditions. The team chose Salmonella, the bacterium behind millions of food poisoning cases yearly. Contact time did matter, but not in the way most people assumed. At under 1 second, thousands of bacteria transferred almost instantly to the food. The 5-second rule, Dawson concluded, was essentially a comforting myth. But Dawson noticed something else inside the data. Surfaces behaved very differently. Carpet, oddly, transferred far fewer bacteria than the smooth tile or wood. Donald Schaffner, food microbiologist, Rutgers University, 2016. Schaffner thought Dawson's results deserved a much larger replication study. 2,560 separate measurements, gathered carefully over 2 full years. 4 surfaces, 4 foods, 4 contact times, every combination tested. Wet watermelon picked up the most bacteria, by a wide margin. Dry candy on carpet picked up the least, sometimes barely measurable. Time did have a small effect. Longer contact meant slightly more transfer. Even 1 second was enough for measurable contamination to occur. The real variables were moisture and surface, not the count to 5. So is the 5-second rule completely useless then? Not entirely. Researchers say context matters far more than the clock. In most home environments, the bacteria you pick up are usually harmless ones. Most floors in most homes simply don't host dangerous pathogens. A public restroom or raw chicken zone is an entirely different story. Some studies suggest household phone screens carry significant bacteria as well. That's really what the 5-second rule has always been about. A small ritual we use to forgive ourselves for being human. A tiny negotiation between hunger and hygiene. Next time a cookie hits your kitchen floor, count if you'd like. But no, the bacteria stopped counting before you even started.